What does it really cost to be true to yourself? Today, we're going to dive into a deeply personal story, a monologue that details one person's incredibly tough week. It's a raw look at the hurdles, both emotional and social, that can stand in the way of living an authentic life. So, the week kicks off with a single powerful feeling: hope. And that one word, it just sets the entire stage. It's like the calm before the storm, the sense that, finally, this week, things might actually start to get better. But what was this hope all about? Well, that hope was all pinned on a long-awaited appointment at a gender clinic. I mean, after months of waiting, saving up every single penny, this was supposed to be the first big step toward, as he put it, finally feeling comfortable in my body. This was supposed to be a huge day. But getting ready for this appointment, it went way beyond just getting dressed. It was this whole calculated effort to seem, in his words, masculine as possible. We're talking binding his chest so tight it was hard to breathe, picking out baggy clothes, even practicing a lower voice. It was basically a performance. So why? Why go through all of that? Because here's the thing. The goal wasn't simply to have a conversation. It was to pass a test. The pressure was just immense. He felt like he had to prove his own identity to a complete stranger, a medical professional, to convince them that he was trans enough to get the care he needed. But that little glimmer of hope, well, it was about to slam right into the cold, harsh reality of the clinic. His deeply personal journey was about to collide with a very, very impersonal process. And this really lays out the emotional gauntlet he had to run. It all started in the waiting room, surrounded by other people with this silent, shared terror of being judged. And then that complex moment when his chosen name, Sam, was called out, a weird mix of relief and total terror. The doctor's questions felt so detached, so clinical, making him feel like he had to justify his entire life, as if his identity had to fit some neat little timeline to be considered valid. So he walked out, not with any sense of relief, but just feeling raw, exposed, like he just laid his whole life on the table for a stranger's approval. And the craziest part? That wasn't even the hardest part of the week. Not by a long shot. Nope, the hardest part came 2 days later. After that whole clinical ordeal, Sam decided he had to face an even more personal challenge, telling his best friend that he was trans. And listen, this was not just any friend. This was a friendship of 15 years, someone he'd known since they were kids in kindergarten, someone he thought had been right there with him through absolutely everything. And this right here captures that gut-wrenching collision between what he hoped for and what actually happened. On one side, you've got Sam opening up about years of pain, just hoping for some support from the person closest to him. And on the other side, laughter. And not a joke, but this cold disbelief that just curled into disgust, repulsion. And in that one single moment, a 15-year bond just vanished. The speed and the finality of that loss is just staggering. It wasn't a slow drift apart. It was an instant cutoff, all because he was honest. You'd think that would be enough for 1 week, right? But no, the week delivered one final blow. After months of silence, Sam gets a call from his mother. And for just a fleeting second, he let himself hope this was it. This was the call where she was finally ready to accept him. It wasn't. It was the exact opposite. Instead, the call was a solid hour of her trying to invalidate his identity. She used these arguments, saying things like it's just a phase, that he was confused, and that by being himself, he was breaking her heart. So let's just pull all these threads together for a second. This wasn't just one bad day, or even a couple of bad encounters. It was a relentless series of them, with the medical system, with his closest friend, and with his own family, that all pounded home the same painful message of rejection. And this is the final summary of the week. In his own words, every single interaction was a form of judgment, a form of rejection. And the offense, the crime that warranted all this, it was just the simple, profound act of trying to be true to himself. So this story, it doesn't really give us any easy answers, but it leaves us with this unavoidable question. Sam's journey lays the cost bare, a cost paid in hope, in friendship, in family. And it really forces us to ask, what does it mean for us when authenticity itself is put on trial?